Hey, Katerina.
Hey Tony, nice to see you. I feel
Nice
like
to
I see
see
you all the time because you're in my Instagram feed.
you.
Yeah, I'm a big consumer of your content, so nice to chat.
Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely excited to have you on today. This should be pretty exciting. Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
And why don't we jump right into this? Because I know it's something that a lot of people might find interesting and exciting. Let's talk about you know what? Let's tell my listeners who you are. Who is Katerina?
Sure. I'm Katerina Mountanos. I grew up in New York, but spent basically every vacation and every summer in Greece. My mom actually worked for an airline, so we flew for free, and I got to go every, winter vacation, spring break, spent my whole summer there with family. My dad's from Koroni, a small town outside of Kalamata in southern Greece. And currently, what I'm working on is I'm founder and CEO of a company called Kosterina. We do premium extra virgin olive oil, and we're essentially a wellness lifestyle brand centered around extra virgin olive oil, but more broadly, the Greek and Mediterranean diet and lifestyle. And so, yeah, happy to tell you more about that. But that's what I'm up to these days.
Then, I mean, I think you kind of hinted at my next question. Tell me more about that. Tell me what is Kosterina?
Yeah, absolutely. So, from my time spent in southern Greece in Koroni, it's essentially the center of olive country. We grew olive oil on a small family farm. It's not enough to support the company today, so it's not just family farm olive oil. But I knew what good olive oil tasted like. And as I became an adult, started cooking more at home, I would go to the supermarket and I was buying, Greek quote unquote extra virgin. And then I also tried Italian and Spanish extra virgin. And I was like, this actually tastes nothing like, what we produce at home. Like, what is the difference? And just became, really interested in finding good olive oil. It's, of course, such a cornerstone to the Greek lifestyle and diet. It's been used in on skin, as a food, as medicine, as an antiseptic in, since ancient times in Greece. And there's just something so special about it. As you know, we baptize our babies in olive oil in Greek culture. It was used in the Olympic Games, and it's just so core to our culture. And wanted to bring really the best of Greece to the US consumer. But I think it was when I found out just how healthy extra virgin olive oil could be that I really wanted to launch this brand. So what I did when I was looking for this good olive oil in New York, really the only place I could find it was at Italy, in Madison Square Park, and it was $50 a bottle. So I ended up taking this olive oil sommelier course, and I learned just how healthy olive oil could be when it's harvested and milled a certain way. And the studies show that the polyphenols in this type of olive oil, those are a special kind of antioxidant, which is highly anti-inflammatory, have been proven by hundreds of studies to reduce your risk of all chronic disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, heart disease. It's like very, very powerful, potent stuff. And learning that like really coincided with my interest in wellness more broadly, and wanted to educate the US consumer on this incredible product that we create in Greece.
Awesome. Amazing. When did you launch?
So it's kind of a complicated answer. Officially, I launched the company in January 2020. That's when, I left my full-time role and started working on the company full-time. But I actually launched the company in 2017 with just one SKU. I had a partner based in Athens, a good friend, actually a good friend's husband, who has now become a very close friend and partner, who helped me get that first bottle created. We found the original producers, and he helped liaise with all the Greek producers. And I was doing that as a side gig. I had just this one SKU. I launched it with an email to everyone in my Gmail box at the very end of 2017. And that first year, I think every single email address that placed an order was someone that I knew. Like, it was my mom and good friends. And then eventually I started seeing, other names and people who were sharing it with their family and friends. And it began to grow organically. And that was part of the impetus for me, leaving my full-time role to focus on it full time.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's in a few major stores, correct?
Yes, we are in Whole Foods nationally. We have 6 of our products in all Whole Foods stores, which is super exciting. They're an amazing partner to us. And then we also sell at Crate and Barrel and Bloomingdale's.
Okay.
And then we also sell on HSN, the Home Shopping Network.
Amazing. And I know that my local Greek market has it because Maria came home with supplies the other day and she bought oil and it was your bottle.
Awesome. Love to hear
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Um, When you started this out, aside from inspiration, what were like your main goals? What did you envision coming out of this? Like, is what's happening now what you thought would be happening, but and what were the goals to start?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely surpassed all my expectations, but I really did have a big vision for it, even from the beginning. It was never just an olive oil company, it was truly a Mediterranean lifestyle brand. And we do have products that sit across a number of different categories. We make regular olive oil, we make flavored olive oils, balsamic vinegars, fruit vinegars. We even make skincare with extra virgin olive oil. And that really is to sort of bring olive oil into a holistic lifestyle where olive oil can actually improve the products in a number of different categories. And aesthetically, what I really loved, what I thought was missing from Greek products here was the modern Greek aesthetic. And so I think, what you envision when you think of Greek products is like, the Greek pita bread, the Greek key, the blue diner cup. And I think people just have that association with Greece and the Greek aesthetic, where I wanted to bring like the aesthetic that you see when you go to Santorini or Mykonos
Mhm.
or any of the incredible islands in the Aegean or Ionian, and really sort of change that in people's minds. And we ended up with this very white minimalist bottle. We then launched a blue minimalist bottle and really try to make sure that that ethos permeates the whole brand.
What is it like building this from scratch? Take us on the journey, if you will.
Yeah. It's really been like the experience of a lifetime. I hate to say it in that way because it sounds a little extreme, but for me, it's everything that I loved in my career and in my personal life all coming together. So in my career, I spent time in, direct to consumer e-commerce businesses. And then I also spent time in wholesale. I worked for a large retailer like Walmart as an example. And then on the personal side, and so Kosterina really brings both of those to like distribution channels and like business models together. And then on the personal side, it brings, food and beauty and grease, all under one umbrella. I also worked in the beauty industry for many years, so there's a career aspect to that as well, where I was, I used to work at L'Oreal, I was developing new products for them. And yeah, really just pulls together my like career and personal life in a way that I couldn't have expected. And I love the idea that we're helping Greek farmers and Greek producers grow their business, because when they're not selling directly to the US, they're selling it to Italy for half the price of what they can sell their olive oil for, if it were to go abroad.
Um, Now, take me aside from building the brands.
Mhm.
Can you talk to me what it's like? I don't know how to word this. Like, is it finding the oil, picking the oil? How long does it take?
Yeah.
Is this the entire process, not necessarily the bottle and the brand,
Yeah.
but the actual product?
Yeah, so the operations side, that's what we would call sourcing. And we have, over the past 6 years, developed relationships with the absolute best producers of olive oil in Greece and, in my opinion, in the world. So we work with olive oil producers that have met our very specific parameters for the type of olive oil that we want. So firstly, we only buy the Koroneiki variety. Part of that is because I love the taste of it, and I think it's the best tasting olive oil in the world. The second piece of it is Koroneiki is named after my hometown, Koroni, and is very core to, my family and the story. But thirdly, Koroneiki is naturally high in polyphenol content and actually has a mild taste that doesn't overpower your food. And so my feeling is that the American consumer doesn't really care what variety they're buying. They just want it to taste good, and they want
Right.
to know that it's quality and clean ingredients. And our product, is truly just one ingredient, pure and simple. And so, really met with a number of different producers, some of which met our parameters, some that do not. Some are very, very professional, some are not. You have to sort of wade through that. And it really is a relationship business, and it takes time. We also work very closely with a professor at the University of Athens who's known for sourcing and building relationships with very high quality olive oil producers. He does all our testing. So we've developed like a truly best in class process for sourcing, production, transportation of olive oil. It always has to be stored in colder temperatures. It can never get too hot. That destroys the quality of the olive oil. And he also tests the product for us chemically from literally every tank that we buy from. So we know exactly what we're getting, and we know that the olive oil that's going to end up on your table in Boston is going to be the same taste, flavor, freshness, and quality as it was at the mill, in Peloponnese.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's just a little bit about the operational aspects. And then of course it gets more complex as we talk about other products, because of course we source balsamic from Italy. We source our skincare products contain our extra virgin olive oil, and they're made here in the US. And then we're also launching olives soon. Those are all also sourced in southern Greece.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to ask you about the different type of products in a minute, but I want to stick to the oil one for a little bit longer. I want to
Yeah.
ask you some questions like as if I know nothing about olive oil. Is the olive oil in your brand from a specific area, or is it a mix of a variety of Greece?
It's all from southern Greece. So today, all our olive oil is single source. So our white bottle olive oil is all from a single farm. Our blue bottle olive oil is all from a single farm. That will change as we grow, because of course a single farm can't supply enough for the entire brand as we continue to grow. And so most of the olive oil is sourced from Laconia. We've also sourced from Archea Libya, outside of Kalamata, and also Crete. So mostly Peloponnese, but also Crete. So we say southern Greece generally.
You have a preference where the best oil comes from?
I think my favorite is from Peloponnese, but this year I was tasting some incredible olive oils from Crete. So I think it depends on the harvest, but they're all very similar. Like the fact that we're only buying organic Koroneiki at this very high polyphenol content level, that's how we get the taste to be like really, really similar. And the terroir is similar enough in Peloponnese and in Crete, in the Peloponnese and in Crete, that that the taste ends up pretty close.
Amazing. So obviously you know your oils. Could you, if I put 5 oils out, blind, no names, you can tell me what they are?
Not by brand, no. I could
No,
probably
not brand. No, not brand, like quality wise of the
Yeah.
tip, and you'd be able to single it out blindly.
Yes, definitely. And I can even like give you some tips and tricks.
Because
So
I can't. Like I know, I just say, yeah, this is good, or I just say, yeah, this is good, or I say this one's very basic. But if you just put them out blind, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you.
yeah, it is like you don't have to have a super refined palate to be able to tell what's good and bad. Like there are some
Yeah.
really obvious clues, so I'll give you a couple of them.
Oh,
It's also
perfect.
just like good dinner party conversation as
Yeah.
grapes generally. So the first thing you want to do when you're tasting like a higher quality olive oil, or if you want to try to tell if something is high quality or not, is you want to put it in a glass, just pour the olive oil on its own in a glass and kind of like swirl it around in your hand and warm it a little bit, and then bring it right to your nose. That's how you're going to get the aromas to come out. And what you should smell is something fresh. Like you should be like, oh, that smells like grass or green tomato or artichoke or even banana. If it doesn't, sometimes like regular supermarket olive oil here in the US will have like a plastic smell, or will just smell a little rancid. If you smell it and you're like, oh, that kind of just smells like olive oil, that's probably not a good olive oil, because unfortunately we've been trained in the US to think that poor quality olive oil is quote unquote extra virgin when it's not. And then the second trick is actually to taste it. So what you want to do is put a little olive oil in your mouth and bring it to the back of your throat with some air. So it sounds ridiculous, but you're going to go and like bring air to the back of your throat and then swallow it. If you get a burn at the back of your throat when you do that, that's a good quality olive oil. Those are the polyphenols or the antioxidants that are creating that burn. There will not be that pepperiness or burn when you're eating it with food. It's only when you taste it plain.
Amazing. Thanks for those tips.
Yeah.
There's value right there for the listeners.
Definitely.
So let's go back to what you were hinting at earlier. Tell me the variety of products that you guys offer.
Yeah, so we have 2 of our hero olive oils, our white bottle original, and then our blue bottle, which is the everyday. The white bottle is ultra early harvest, most high polyphenol content, most potent flavor. And then the blue is slightly more mild. So what we do is we wait slightly later into the harvest to get the price down. So it's a quick sidebar. When you squeeze an olive that's harvested early, not a lot of juice comes out. When you squeeze a very ripe olive, a lot of juice comes out, but it's not as potent and it doesn't have antioxidants anymore. And so, since we wait slightly later into the harvest, we wait for the perfect time to squeeze it so we get the price down. So it's more accessibly priced. It's a $20 bottle versus a $30 bottle for the blue every day.
Sure.
And then just going down the line, we also make 3 flavored olive oils. We have a Greek herb and lemon, a spicy red pepper, and a garlic. The spicy and the garlic are cult favorites. People like fall in love with those and pour it all over everything. And I'm happy to send you some if you haven't tried those yet, because I know those are not in Whole Foods yet. And then we make a line of really interesting vinegars. So we have three balsamics, an original, a fig flavored, but you know, figs are very native to southern Greece. We have fig trees on our property in Koroni. And then a dark chocolate flavored balsamic, which is really unique. That is national in stores and it's delicious on ice cream or Greek yogurt, cheese. Some people use it as a steak marinade. It's very like unique and worth trying for sure. And then finally, our fruit vinegars. So our fruit vinegars are a mix of white wine, vinegar, and grape must from Greece and Italy. And they have fresh crushed fruit inside. And they taste like nothing you've ever tasted. They're like a burst of fruit flavor, but there's no added sugars, no artificial sweeteners or flavors. And they're amazing as cocktail mixers, salad dressings. You can even just pour some in seltzer for like a mocktail. And they have, you know, blood sugar stabilization effects. If you've heard of like the trend of drinking vinegar in the wellness world, a lot of people drink apple cider vinegar or ACV. It has a similar benefit.
Amazing. Great information.
Yeah.
Um,
And then finally, we
yeah,
have skincare products. So we make skincare all with our extra virgin olive oil for the hydration benefits and the antioxidant benefits. We make a face oil, a moisturizer. We make an aluminum-free deodorant and what we call an oil balm, which is basically like a lip balm, but it can also be used on your face or like any dry spots. And it's, you know, made with olive oil and kind of glides on really, really nicely. Very unique, interesting product.
that's awesome. It's not just oil, not just oil for your salads and your food.
That's
We got a
right.
variety
Yeah.
of products.
Greek
That's amazing.
lifestyle across the board.
Speaking of Greek lifestyle, so let's talk a little bit of Greece. Where in Greece are you from?
So my mom is from Agriño, which is in central Greece, and my
Mhm.
dad is from Koroni, which is about 45 minutes south of Kalamata. Small coastal town that's like really, really beautiful. Getting more touristy, but you know, started off not too touristy. Has like a beautiful castle. We have a house, you know, a small house right on the water, and it's just, you know, my happy place for sure.
That's amazing. And I'm sure, how often do you get to go back?
I've been going every year with the exception of the pandemic years. And when I was pregnant with my children, I couldn't go. But besides that, every single year.
That's awesome. If so, you said it's becoming a little bit more touristy. So if somebody was to put these places on their list of places to go, what is one tip you would give them?
Hmm. Um, well, I have a hotel in Koroni that I love that feels like a resort. Like Koroni is a small town, like it's true Greece. There's not any major resorts, but there's a new hotel that opened not too, probably 10 years ago now. But it's called Campilia, and that's actually where my husband and I got married. We had our wedding reception there. And so definitely stay there. And then I would recommend visiting the church. So the church has like a very special story. It's called Panagia Leistria, and it literally overlooks the ocean and the cliffs of Koronia and all, you know, all the homes. It's so, so beautiful. And yeah, it just has like very special story that you can read about that's, you know, religious and touching and like really beautiful.
Amazing. Aside from your hometowns, now I want to ask you your three favorite Greek islands.
Yeah, can I say a place that's not an island? That's
Afterwards, I'm gonna have.
okay, that's
Oh,
after.
let's
Got
do main. Oh, all right, we can start with mainland. Give me your three favorite mainland.
it.
Three
Okay.
favorite mainland places.
Okay, so I think my favorite place on mainland is Costa Navarino.
Hmm.
The like big insider tip I have there is that you can book it on Marriott points, and so credit card points will get you like it's a pretty expensive place to stay, but it's so
Yeah,
amazing. I think it's my favorite hotel in the world, and you know, sort of not to be missed. It really truly is in the middle of true Greece. You have a beautiful beach there called Voidokia, and just like the little town that they've built in there, Barbunya, the restaurant, incredible experience. Um, in mainland Greece, I would also say Koroni, which we just talked about. And then finally, Athens. Athens is amazing. It's just really fun. I love Glyfada. I love Vouliagmeni. And there's amazing restaurants, amazing nightlife, good beaches. It's rare that you have, you know, a city that has such amazing beaches close enough to visit
for
every day.
sure. Perfect. I want one more because you used Godani, and that's a hometown, right? But
Okay,
I want
let's
one
see.
more.
Mainland. I guess I should tell you about my husband's Koryo, which is really small. I do love
Let's
going
hear it.
there but it's more about, the people, and
For
that's
sure.
like true Chorio life. So my husband's from Arcadia, and
Okay.
he's from a small town called Picadi, and we have his family has a home there that we stay with all our kids, and there are horses and chickens, and we pick almonds off the tree and clean them, and there's a beach not too far away. So yeah, that typical like true Greek Chorio experiences. That's where we go for that.
Amazing. All right. So now the islands, three favorite Greek islands.
I don't even know if I have three favorites. I love Mykonos. I know everybody says it's like so touristy, but my response to that is it's touristy for a reason. It's,
Mm,
so much fun. No one in Mykonos is never not happy. And just walking through that town, there's so much energy, and the vibe is amazing. You stay out all night, even if you're older and not, in your early 20s anymore. And it's just like nothing can beat that experience. I think I've had the best memories of my life in Mykonos. I love Paros, also beautiful. I feel like Paros is more like for Greek tourists than international tourists.
mhm.
Still, quite busy, but just, amazing beaches, restaurants, nightlife as well. Just like a little bit more toned down from
You're right.
Mykonos.
Right.
And Santorini. I went to Santorini for a photo shoot about a year and a half ago now for Kosterina. We took the most beautiful photos, the landscapes, everything about Santorini is so picturesque. I think it's the most beautiful place in the world. And yeah, again, like touristy for a reason.
For sure. No, you make good points.
Hmm.
They are beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. So what about your three favorite Greek dishes?
Ooh, okay. Let's see. I mean, a good like gyro is just classic.
Facts. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about Jimmy's Gyros in the center of Mykonos town. But really like any gyro spot in Athens, anywhere that you're stopping while you're traveling through Greece. Um, I love Vakos salad, with like the
Hmm.
barley husks,
Yeah.
feta, tomato. Um, and then let's see. I really like fava. Like I'll
Okay.
put fava on everything, like on fresh fish, I'll put it on chicken, I'll put it on meat or beefsteak. It's kind of a sleeper, but yeah, especially in Santorini, really good fava.
Awesome. And then what about your three favorite Greek desserts?
Mm. Greek yogurt with honey and walnuts is probably number one. It's just like so classic and like, fairly healthy for a dessert. Um, Mellow macarona, which I like to
Mm.
have even just like with my afternoon coffee. My mother-in-law makes killer mellow macarona. I actually prefer them, as she calls them, a melota, like before all the honey and syrup goes on. Like that's
Yeah.
good for like Christmas, but for like every day, I like them just without that. And then, the last one, I would probably say bugazza, like a
Mm.
bugazza from the Furno in the morning
Yeah.
or something like that.
All right. Nice. Now I need to go.
Making me hungry.
Yeah, you're making me hungry. And then are you a coffee drinker? And if so, what is your favorite Greek type of coffee?
I am definitely a coffee drinker. I am a person that actually orders American coffee hot at the
Okay.
beach in Greece, which is so weird.
All right. That's
So
the
I do
first
that.
person to say that on this show. I love it.
I know it's a little off brand, but yeah, I do love like my regular classic American coffee. If it's, afternoon and it's super hot out, I'll do like a freddo, cappuccino,
Yeah. Okay.
schietto, no sugar.
All right. Uh, Great choices. All right. So just a couple more questions left, and I will let you go. But
Yeah.
back to the Costa. Where do you see Costa in 5 years?
I hope that we are, the brand that stands for good olive oil in the US, and that people in the US come to know that the best olive oil in the world is Greek, and that we've, influenced health outcomes by getting people to eat more vegetables and put olive oil on their food instead of butter, and bake with olive oil instead of butter and vegetable oils, which can be, inflammatory. So it's more sort of like those health goals, and also like the bringing of Greek culture that I hope, you know, is what we can do over the next 5 years.
Awesome. And one last question about you. This is the question that I ask everybody, my sign-off question.
Yeah.
What does being Greek mean to you?
I mean, it kind of is everything. It's so deep in our core, but I think it's, a way to live where you're focused on family, hospitality, enjoying life, and eating good food. kind of brings it all together.
That's well said. Well, you put that together really nicely. All right. Plug yourself, plug the brand. Where can we find it aside from the stores, websites, Instagram, socials, whatever you want? Let's hear it.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, you can find us at Kosterina.com. Our full line of products is there. We do sell in Whole Foods Market nationally, every state, every store. We are also in Crate and Barrel and Bloomingdale's. And you can find us on Instagram at Kosterina and Facebook at kosterina.gr.
Amazing. Thank you for coming on the show. It's been a lot of fun, very informative. Learned a bit more about olive oil and the type of things that we can do with olive oil.
Yep.
And where to
You can
find
actually
it.
take a shot of it every morning, by the way. It's super healthy to take a shot of olive oil in the morning, first thing before you eat anything else. Forgot to mention that.
So before the coffee.
Before the coffee, yeah.
Before the Fredo, right?
Exactly.
Before the Fredo.
Cheers.
All right. Yeah, thank you again for coming on the show. This has been Katerina from Kosterina, and we will talk to you guys again on the next episode. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Bye-bye.
Love what you're doing.
Thanks.